we are joined by Emeka Ozioko this morning on Tea or Coffee, a physiotherapist who will be helping us to unpack this conversation. Good morning, Emeka. How are you doing?
Good morning. I'm fine.
Good. Glad to have you here. We've been chatting before the break. We're so glad you could join us in our studio.
It's nice meeting you, Ade.
This morning.
You have a nice personality, to be sincere, and I think I'll be comfortable on this.
Wait, sorry. Did Bolade hear that? I have a nice personality, Bolade. Thank you very much, Emeka. It means a lot.
You're
All
welcome.
right, so let's stay on topic.
Okay.
Before we get into the conversation of weight gain, for our viewers who probably are not aware of, what this term is, let's give a background. What is weight gain? What does weight gain entail for a person?
Okay. I want to talk about. Let's approach it this way. Now, for weight, several things contribute to weight.
Okay.
The weight of the body. Now, the body mass. Let's look at it as body mass. Now, we're looking at the bone, bone density. You consider muscle mass. You consider fat, body fat, and you consider body fluid. You understand? So when we talk about weight gain, we're looking at how to increase the general body mass. You understand?
Right.
Because the misconception over time, when you hear weight gain, what comes to people's mind is body fat, just fat.
Right.
So weight gain is, a procedure or a process of increasing the body mass, you understand, and putting all these contributing factors into consideration.
Right.
You understand?
Right. Okay, that's interesting. Now we're going to be having a look at some myth and facts. So on Tea or Coffee, we have a segment called "Did You Know?" And on this particular part of the show, we look at some myth and facts surrounding particular topics. This one contextualized to weight gain. Now the first myth that we're looking at on our "Did You Know" this morning is it is a popular myth. Yeah, you've just actually established that it is a popular myth that eating fat makes you fat. Now that is a myth. Now the fact is that low-fat diets are often rich in starchy or sugary carbohydrates that promote weight gain. Now we have been brainwashed to believe that if we eat fat, we will get fat. But according to science of food, fat consumption does not cause weight gain. To the contrary, eating less fat than ever, we are growing fatter. Now, talk to us about this.
Okay. Healthy weight gain. There's weight gain that might not be healthy, and there's one that will be healthy. So we're looking at the healthy weight gain. There's an extent to which you consume fat. Fine, you could accumulate body fat. You understand? Because this is the way the body works. You take in food, the body makes use of the one it wants to use, what it needs, and the excess, that is not digested, is defecated. You understand? Now the one that is left, the body converts it to fat. Even excess energy is converted to fat. So when people consume fat with the intention to gain weight, they might achieve that, but sometimes it goes overboard because sometimes some of them end up with unhealthy weight gain. So when you want gain weight, you have to be holistic. The approach has to be holistic. You don't just consider fatty foods. You understand? And you don't only consider food intake. You consider some other things because, speaking as a physiotherapist, there are several contributing factors. Maybe we'll be touching that later. But apart from diets, which should not only be fat. Now, if it's fat to be included, healthy fats, that's one. You're looking at carbohydrates, even proteins. You understand? Because now these proteins contribute to muscle building, muscle repairs, you understand, tissues in the body, you understand. So now you check exercise. So we've talked about diets, you consider exercise.
Okay, you know what? Let us slow our roll.
Okay.
Let us not let all the cats out of the bag.
I get.
So let's have a look at our next myth. Now the reason why I say that is because we're going to establish this conversation for the sake of our viewers at home, so that they're actually able to digest this conversation in very well. Now the next myth that we're looking at, it is a myth that you can control weight by counting calories. This one is very interesting. And the fact is, all calories are not equal. Now, this is saying all calories are not created equal. Food that enters your bloodstream quickly promotes weight gain. Food that enters slowly promotes weight loss. For example, sugar from soda enters your blood very rapidly. The calories you aren't using is stored as fat. Now, I mean, you know, the general conception about calories and etc. is that, you know, when they say, oh, check, because I actually used to be a perpetrator of this myth. Like, before I eat anything, I'll check, okay, it's high on this, plenty calories here, you know, and then I'll say, okay, yeah, it's appropriate for me. So how is it that not all calories are equal? How does that help me make sense?
Okay, this is it. For carbohydrates, you know, carbohydrates have different categories of carbohydrates. You have the simple sugars, and you have the complex sugars. You know, you have things called monosaccharides, disaccharides, and the rest of them. Now, for the monosaccharides, things like glucose, fructose, and galactose, especially glucose, it's, you know, when you consume them, you know, they are easily absorbed into the bloodstream.
Right.
You understand? But now when you go to the disaccharides, they have to be broken down. So you're looking at maltose, lactose, sucrose, and the rest of the three of them, they'll have to be broken down. But the thing is, when it comes to fat is not easily absorbed into the body. You know, the process of digestion takes time. You understand? Now, from studies, carbohydrates contains about 1 gram of carbohydrate contains about 4 kilocalories.
Okay.
Then the same 1 gram of fat contains about 9 kilocalories.
Interesting.
Yes. So you see, fat contains more calories than carbohydrate. But I know the thing is, they call carbohydrates energy-giving food. Yeah. And maybe that's because, I want to believe that's because it's easily absorbed into the bloodstream. So like, you know, you consume soda drink or a soft drink, and, you know, like, you have that sugar rush to, you know, engage in something, you understand? So the thing is, because fat takes time to digest, although despite the fact it contains high energy, it's not, you know, people don't really look at it as energy-giving food. Nevertheless, you know, fat contains higher calories than carbohydrates. Equal masses of fat, you know, and carbohydrates. Fat contains higher calories than carbohydrates.
Yeah, so there's a distinction in the kind of calories you find in these two classes of food. And even if it's like maybe like carbohydrate calories is on 5 and the same value on the fat is on 5, but they're doing different things. That's what I'm getting.
Yes, they contain different amounts of calories.
Right. Okay, all right. Now the next myth, it is a myth that to lose weight you will have to cut back on carbs, as in on carbohydrates. Now the fact is, not all carbohydrates are bad, and I think you established this a bit. Now this write-up is saying carbohydrates come in different forms, simple and complex. Simple carbs found in foods like cookies and candy lack vitamins, minerals, and fiber. Cutting back on these sweets is a great way to eat healthier. Foods with complex carbs like whole wheat breads, beans, and fruits have lots of nutrients that are good for you. So recently, I've given into a guilty pleasure. And my guilty pleasure recently is chocolate. I enjoy chocolate a bit too much these days. Like, and I don't even have a sweet tooth. But you know, the way I think about it, you know what they say about what I heard about chocolate. The conception about chocolate is that it has, you know, particular fats that, you know, if you eat a lot of chocolate, too much chocolate, you probably add weight and things like this. Now, you know, but this particular myth is actually debunking that. So I want to talk about, you know, like sweet foods. Like what is the value? What is the carbohydrate value, you know, in sweet meals?
The carbohydrate value, if you look at refined carbohydrates. Refined carbohydrates are not healthy, to tell you the truth. Refined foods, processed foods, you know, you talked about chocolate. You know, sometimes, I know, yes, it's been said that the dark chocolate has nutritional value, but, you know, these days you see all sorts of chocolate. That's the thing. All sorts of candies, people consuming junks here and there, the shawarmas and the pizzas and the rest of them. Now,
shawarma is not healthy.
Some of them are, some of these foods are processed foods and refined carbohydrates. You understand? Now, it's not that we say don't consume, but, you know, reduce the intake of these things. They are not as healthy as the ones that contain, you know, nutrients, you know, high value nutrients, you understand, you know, carbohydrates,
yes.
you know, the ones that contain fibers, you understand. Even some of them are enriched with vitamins and minerals, you understand. So you want to cut down on these refined carbohydrates and junks, processed foods, because the truth is, rather than you getting adding weight, you understand, you're having some deficits nutritionally.
Yeah.
You understand?
Right.
And some of these things, you know, over time.
Sorry to cut short. Is it if that is your sole diet? Is that what you mean by you're having some deficits? Like you're not eating any other thing but these sweet foods?
If it's consumed in excess, you know, frequent, prolonged, and incessant consumption of these things are not healthy for the body. Some of these things leave toxins in the body, you know, after they've been digested and metabolized, you know, they leave toxins, free radicals in the body.
Free radicals?
Yes, free radicals. Funny enough, these things...
That sounds like a protest group.
It's not. You know, these are substances that are not healthy for the body. And some of them contribute to aging, you know, yes, they contribute to aging. So you want to cut down on these things.
Right.
I'm not saying don't eat, but cut down on consumption of these things.
Right.
Go for foods that have high nutritional value. You understand? Foods that would, at the end of the day, you know, even if you don't gain weight, but you know you're not losing in any way, you understand? I don't know if you get. Because there are several factors that contribute to weight gain. Some persons may take some of these things, even in the right proportion, and may not still gain weight as they expect. Of which we might need to touch that later.
Okay, we're gonna touch that later, and we're gonna get into the next one. But really quickly, right? So my father and I were talking about noodles, and I don't want to mention any brands, right? And we're talking about the nutritional values for noodles. So my dad and I share a hate for noodles. And we're sharing our hates in conversation like, wow, noodles is such a useless meal. You know, I was saying that it doesn't do anything for the body. Am I right? Is that correct? Like, you know, because, you know, there are people who rely heavily on, without mentioning brands, on a noodle and fried egg diets. You know, or a noodle and boiled egg diets. I think you already know what I'm talking about.
I get.
You know, so like, is there any nutritional value, and how dangerous can a meal like that actually be to the body?
Okay, there are nutritional values, but you can't compare them to, you know, noodles is a processed food, if you know that.
Yes.
You know, it's made from flour, you know, and some other things involved. Now, you can't compare them to, you know, something like, let's say, rice.
Rice, yeah.
You understand? You know, rice is
carbohydrates.
You know, yes, rice. You know, like it's not processed. You understand? It's not processed. But noodles is processed. Has gone through some processes, and they might have added one or two things. Nevertheless, it contains some nutritional values, but it can't be as
okay.
You understand?
Really? Like, I really thought it was zero on the nutritional value.
No. Come on, it can't be. Can't be. If it can be.
Okay. Now, what do you mean by processed? For the sake of viewers at home who are not understanding that, what do you mean by processed food? Like when food goes through processing?
Okay, when the natural form of a food is being altered, and in the course of altering this form, some substances are added. Now, you know, some of the producers might tell you that these substances are edible. Fine, they are edible. We know that. But we know that in the long run, consumption of these substances, you know, tend to have you know, an impact on the health of people. But, you know, they've gone through, their forms have been altered, and some additives have been, you know, involved, some substances being added, and sometimes in the course of trying to preserve them, you know, to increase their shelf life, to prolong their shelf life, they add some substances, some preservatives, and these things sometimes impact on the health. Sincerely, I must be sincere with you. So you want to watch what you consume. You understand? If some people have, some people crave these things, but discipline should be involved sincerely, and it's going to help you. If you allow your appetite to control you, and because you crave these things and you want to consume them, sincerely, you're going to find yourself on the downside in the long run, especially when it's a prolonged, frequent, and incessant consumption of these things.
All right. So what I'm basically getting is just cook your food. Like, just buy your rice and buy your tomato and make your rice and stew. That's what I'm getting from this.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. I think I'm not saying you should not eat noodles.
Okay.
You understand? But
or processed food.
Yeah. But cut down on the consumption of these things.
Yeah. You broke my house with the shawarma, and I love and I love pizza. I really enjoy pizza, but you broke my house with that.
I love pizza as well.
Yeah.
I love shawarma.
Yeah.
But I don't take them.
Okay, is there like a healthy pizza? Help me out here. Like, is there like, can I make pizza in a healthy way? Like,
pizza, a healthy way. Pizza is pizza.
Pizza is pizza. All right. Let's look at the next myth. Now, this one says on our Did You Know? This one says it's a myth that lifting weights is not. It's a myth that lifting weights is not a good way to lose weight because it will make you bulk up. Now, the fact is, only intense strength training along with certain genetics can build large muscles. Lifting weight has a unique weight loss advantage that makes it superior to other forms of exercise for weight loss. When you lift weights, you build muscle and lose fat. Lifting weights or doing activities like push-ups and crunches on a regular basis can help you build strong muscles, which can help you burn more calories. To strengthen muscles, you can lift weights, use large rubber bands, do push-ups or sit-ups, or do household or yard tasks. Now let's get into the exercising part of this conversation when it comes to weight gain. The conception I understand is that in order for you to build body mass, you need to tear muscle, eat a lot of protein, and eat a lot of carbs. You put it's like you're tearing muscle, you eat a lot of carbs, which goes into those torn muscles, and you use protein to essentially repair the torn muscles. Is that correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Now, like I said initially, several things contribute to body mass. You're looking at bone density, you're looking at body fluid, you're looking at body fat, and you're also considering muscle mass, the lean muscle mass. Now, when you lift weights, now weightlifting, we call them, they fall under strengthening exercises, you understand, because they are targeted at building muscles. They strengthen the muscles, and they also build the muscle mass, the muscle bulk, the muscle tone, you understand. So remember, muscle mass also contributes to weight. So when you build muscles, when you lift weights, when you strengthen muscles, over time you could gain weight. But on the aspect of burning fat, yes, I want to say this. I know I told you fat contains calories, you understand, and excess energy, even excess fat, is all stored as fat. So now, when your body needs energy, it could pick from the fat stores.
Okay. You
understand? And, converts this fat in the adipose tissues. Adipose tissues, you find adipose tissues in below the skin, subcutaneous fat, or, intra-abdominal, that's visceral fats. So it could pick from, your adipose tissues, convert them to glucose through a process called gluconeogenesis to produce energy. You understand?
Okay. So it's taking fat from different parts of the body to give you strength.
It could, yes. Yes. The body does that. That's one of the ways the body could, provide energy for itself. You understand? It goes to the fat stores and converts it through that biochemical pathway called gluconeogenesis. Now, so the thing is, if you have excess fats, you understand, or if you have fat deposits, let me not say excess, but you have fat deposits, and you're lifting weights, you'll be building your muscles, and at the same time you could be burning fat, no problem. But strengthening exercises are not the best way to burn fat. They are not the best way to reduce weight. I don't know if you get.
I'm with you.
Strengthening exercises, weightlifting is not the best, although you would burn energy, but it's not the best. The best way is aerobics, because aerobics makes use of oxygen aerobic exercises. They make use of oxygen to burn energy.
Okay, so aerobics, give me an example of aerobics.
Okay.
Like running?
Running, jogging, swimming, you understand? Walking, cycling, bicycle ergometry.
Okay, so I want to understand something.
Treadmill exercises.
Okay, I want to understand something. So I'm saying, what I'm getting is that aerobics is good for weight loss because it's converting fat into energy.
It converts energy stores.
Energy stores.
You know, and makes use of them. You know, it converts energy stores. You know, like the energy stores are being converted to produce energy for
those activities. Right, and that is the glucose process that you named. Is that correct?
And the gluconeogenesis, you know, makes use of. What gluconeogenesis does is the pathway. What it does is it picks, you know, sources of energy, like things like protein stores. It goes to protein stores, fat stores, and converts them to, you know, glucose.
Right.
Then with the glucose, it produces energy that the body would use.
I'm learning so much from you this morning, I have to say. All right, so very quickly, I want to understand something. So that means that when we come back to the conversation of weight gain, for a person who's trying to gain weight, aerobics is probably not a good idea because you'll be burning.
You'll be burning weight. You'll be burning fat, energy stores, fat stores, and all that. You'll be burning.
Yeah. So
although,
yes, please.
Although aerobics is healthy for the body. It's healthy because it helps, you know, some aerobic exercises helps in, you know, enhancing cardiovascular health, like healthy hearts, healthy lungs, healthy brain. But so you have to have a program to know, okay, what are you doing the exercises for? You understand? If you're doing the exercises to gain weight, you understand, you do more of strengthening exercises. If you're doing the exercises to lose weight, you do more of aerobics. Do you understand? Yeah.
And then if you're doing more of the exercises to actually build your internal organs, you are doing more of cardiovascular exercises.
Yes, cardiovascular exercises, of which some aerobic exercises covers that.
Okay, yeah.
You understand? Things like the treadmill exercise, you know, jogging on the treadmill, cycling, walking, swimming, you know, they also help for cardiovascular, you know, for cardiovascular health.
Right. Okay. Now, we are almost actually getting to the end of this conversation. So I want to, very quickly, I want to talk about food. Now, we've been mentioning food classes, carbohydrates, proteins, fats. Right. Now, I want us to actually name some meals that are actually good for weight gain. You know, so for some of my viewers this morning, like for instance, I like talking in terms of carbohydrates. I like talking like, I'm mixing my carbohydrates and my protein. So when some of my friends hear me, they're like, "Guy, what are you talking about? Like, just tell me you're eating rice and meat." You understand? So like, let us break down, you know, in simpler terms for our viewers this morning, what are the carbohydrate foods? What are the carbohydrate foods you should be eating? What are the protein meals you should be eating? What are the fat meals you should be eating for a healthy weight gain?
Okay, now the truth is, it's not just eating meals.
Okay.
Now, energy intake as against energy expenditure, there has to be a balance. You could eat and eat, but if the expenditure is far more than the intake, you might not see any difference as much. You understand? So you consider this, you know, what you consume as against what you expend. So if you say you want to gain weight and you're eating carbohydrates, I've been eating, but what you engage in, like your activities, your physical activities burns energy more. You understand?
Yeah.
What you're taking in will not reflect as much as you expect.
That's interesting.
Yes. So for carbohydrates, healthy carbohydrates, you have rice, you have bread, and to make it more nutritious, the whole wheat. You know,
you
know,
it's amala.
Yes, you know, yes, it's good. Semo, you know, that's what they call it, right?
Yeah.
Now,
how about fufu?
Fufu is also fine. Fufu is also fine.
Is fufu with? What is fufu exactly? Do you know?
Fufu is carbohydrate. Fufu is made from cassava.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Fufu is made from cassava.
Yes, live and learn.
Yeah. Fufu is made from cassava, and you know, you're looking at that. Then you want to go to the fatty foods, and with fatty foods you have to be careful.
Okay.
Because some of them contain cholesterol, and cholesterol derived from plants, plant sources, have been found to be healthier. I don't know if you get.
Okay.
Have been found to be healthier. That's why sometimes with your vegetable oil, they want to be sure of the source of the vegetable oil. That's why some brands will tell you, zero cholesterol or zero trans fat or no animal fats. You understand? You get.
So plant-based cholesterol is essentially plant-based fats. Or fats derived from plants.
Yes, plants, cholesterol from plant sources are healthier compared to cholesterol from animal sources. But all the same, you want to be careful. And excess consumption of these things could lead to some conditions, medical conditions, which you want to avoid. You understand? So if you're taking fat, be sure that it's something healthy. You understand? Meals that contain, for instance, you have, in some meals, in your mind you are eating fufu, but the soup you are eating with contains fat. You understand? The oil used in cooking it. If it's an egusi soup, the melon contains fat.
Okay, and that's like unhealthy. That's a healthy option.
It's an healthy option. But be careful so that you don't, consume in excess. Because when there's accumulation of fat, when there's excess fats, some of these things have adverse effect on the body. Yes.
Okay, so how about the fats from protein? We actually need to wrap up.
The fat from protein? Okay, protein doesn't contain fats as such. It doesn't contain fats. Protein is a different class of food.
I mean, but what I mean is, like, for instance, like meats. Are there some meats that have, because there are some, for instance, I say that you're not supposed to eat the skin, apparently the skin of like chicken and turkey, things like that, is actually unhealthy because it contains a lot of cholesterol. Is that correct?
Some of them, I talked about adipose tissues, and some of these adipose tissues are situated below the skin, subcutaneous fats. So if these fats are below the skin, remember I told you about plant fats and animal, you understand? So if nutritionists have said that it's not healthy, fine, take it, it's not healthy. It could be it's subcutaneous fat, and remember it's an animal source. You understand? Nevertheless, even while trying to eat the meat, you could still consume some traces of fat in these things, in some of these meats. Whether it's from chicken or it's from beef or
okay, all right, this has been very insightful. I have learned a lot from you this morning, but to wrap up, I would like you to encourage some of the viewers watching you this morning that are trying to gain weight. I'm one of the viewers watching this morning that's trying to gain weight. So a word of advice on healthy dieting, a word of advice on healthy exercising and on healthy weight gain. That is your camera, so you can advise them.
Okay, on healthy weight gain, first, you want to consider exercises. Strengthening exercises would help. Exercises that build, the muscle mass. And you have targeted muscles. If you could target some muscles. For the push-ups looks at targets the deltoid muscles and the triceps as well. And for the bench presses targets the triceps and the biceps as well. Now, the call-up, the call-up exercise targets the biceps. Squats, you're looking at the glutes, the gluteals, the hamstrings, the quadriceps, and some of the muscles, even the calf muscles in the lower limb, that's in your leg, what you call the leg. And for exercises, there are some other exercises you could do as well. Now, going over to diets, eat food with that are rich in calories, but healthy calories. Avoid junks. Avoid refined carbohydrates. Avoid processed foods. If you still have cravings for them, you could just reduce the intake of these things. Again, sleep. Sleep is essential. Sleep deprivation over time had shown by from researches that with sleep deprivation you tend to lose weight. Yes, when you deprive yourself of enough sleep. You should have about 7 to 8 hours of sleep, going by, you know, healthy prescription. And stress, you're looking at stress management. I tell people stress is different from exercise. Some people think when you engage in stress, you know, they're two different things. Stress is not healthy for the body, you know. So in ways of managing stress, you could do some exercises, some aerobic exercises, meditations, some massages, you know, listen to cool music. Some people engage in yoga. It's a way they manage stress. And you also consider lifestyle. You know, when there's someone who smokes, who consumes alcohol, the chances of the person gaining weight are very low. So you want to put all these things into consideration. And you might say, I've done all these things and nothing, you're not seeing any difference. Well, for you, it might be genetic. It might be genetic for you, or you want to consider seeing a health practitioner, a nutritionist, because there could be, you know, a medical condition that is depriving you of gaining weight. So that's it.
That was you know a lot about. We need to chat, like, you know, just one-on-one. Okay, I'm gonna leave you now. We actually need to go, but I want to leave you with a story. Okay. So like my dad, and the producer is probably gonna. So my dad, there's a place my dad usually eats amala in Ibadan when he's traveling. Okay. And this weekend he stopped by there, and he was telling me that, wow, Ade, you can't imagine, son. I saw a man come in, and guess how many wraps of fufu this man ate with his soup? 12.
maybe he's a gluten, or he has a high.
And he was very skinny. Like he was very tall and skinny. Because that was my next question to my dad. Like, I'm sure it was not a you know, like a big guy. I was like, yes, it was actually very skinny like me, because my dad is like me, like very skinny like me. And I'm like, wow, can you imagine? But anyway, thank you very much, Emeka, for coming on our show. Please come back next time. No problem. It was actually a delight speaking with you this morning. I have learned a lot.
Thank you.
That is Emeka Ozioko, physiotherapist, on the conversation of weight gain.